call. Dr Cam called up.
Talofa lava, Mr Chairman. Kia ora, Mr Jones. It was an honour to serve from time to time on the Select Committee on this issue, and I'd like to pay credit to the hard work done by regular members of the committee on both sides of the House and the quality of submissions received. Submissions that this government has listened to such an extent that no finer authority than the Royal New Zealand Herald said the Select Committee has done a worthy job. It now falls to Aucklanders to make the super city work. They went on to say it presents a workable framework for uniting Auckland that should have the support of Aucklanders. Now, this is something that this government has brought to fruition. The last years of the late, unlamented Labour administration were a Faustian tragedy played out right here in Aotearoa, New Zealand. Here, it was not just one individual who sold their souls, but an entire caucus, hell-bent on retaining power at any cost. A caucus characterised by fear, loathing and mistrust, and that was just for themselves within the caucus, let alone any external agencies. A cavilling caucus, querulous and lost, sliding somnolently from lassitude and lethargy to contented catatonia and back again. Sadly, there were no alchemists and no conjurers in this caucus. Sadly, no alchemists and no conjurers in this Faustian pact. No architects or visionaries for a brighter future. No advocates for hard-working New Zealand men and women. No attempts to address the glaring problems of Auckland governance until the dying days of a tottering, failing administration. At a point actually recognised by a member opposite who said, "We were very late coming to the party and doing something about it." Instead, hard-working New Zealanders were taxed mercilessly, condemned to labour like Sisyphus, day after day, labour day after day, working without respite and taxed in more and more ingenious ways in an attempt to contain the insatiable lust for dollars to feed the blind, dogma-driven, tax-and-spend behemoth that was the last Labour government. That's right. A government whose economic policies were such that New Zealand's tradable sector, in years of unparalleled economic prosperity, underperformed and slipped further and further behind year after year. Now, of course, Mr Jones is going to ask me how useful were the late unrelented Labour administration's economic policies? How useful?
Point of order. Phil Twyford.
I feel that the member opposite is undermining the dignity of the House with this speaking style.
Interesting. Well, there is a question of relevance, but to the member who this has been a pretty wide general. This has been a very wide debate on many aspects of Auckland governance. Some of the words he's articulated and crystallised his ideas and words which I haven't heard before, which have been interesting, but maybe the member with a minute 44 left to go may actually talk about the bill.
Thank you very much, Speaker Talofa Lava again. How useful were the late, unlamented Labour administration's economic policies? I would submit as useful as a pair of clogs to a surfboard rider, Mr Speaker. As useful as a green log to a hoo-hoo grub. As useful as a return ticket on the Titanic. A particularly apt image because such was the economic mismanagement under Labour that the New Zealand economy sank year after year after year. Like the New Zealand economy, the Auckland economy underperformed for years. The local government Auckland Law Reform Bill will allow the new Auckland Council to foster economic growth, think regionally, plan strategically and act decisively. I commend this bill to the House.